And don't even get me started on the homophobia and transphobia of Chandler Bing. I meant what I said. I meant what I said when I said that I loved Chandler. Chandler was my favorite character, and I love the way he was played by Matthew Perry. I'm going to lead with that because I love the character. But now I'm thinking, how homophobic and transphobic was Chandler Bing? Or was it the writing? And you might think those are like one and the same, but I don't think that they are. Because sometimes I think of characters as separate from the writing, you know? And regardless of the flaws of that show, it was well written. Because, well, in my opinion, well written TV, shows, movies, well written characters make you wonder about them as like a whole person. This is my experience. So, like, if you're wondering about them as a whole person, like me thinking about Phoebe Buffay being gay means that that character was pretty well written because it makes my imagination go off to other places of like wondering what she does in her life. Like, it just, the characters are very real, I think is what I'm trying to get at. And so, despite the skillful writing, though, that's the that's the torn feeling I have about Chandler Bing. And it's interesting because, I mean, I can talk about this all day because I've watched Friends so many times. So luckily, oh, I just got a spirit thumbs up. Our message is on the right track. So anyway, luckily, I don't have to rewatch a homophobic show in order to talk about this because I watched it so much. The show, I watched it. I can't even count how many times I watched that series, right? And so many people are in the same situation as me. But I think it's really important to mention, like, how homophobic and transphobic the character of Chandler Bing is. But he's still likable, which is really interesting. That's a really interesting dynamic. And it's problematic because, I mean, and first of all, I'm not trans, by the way. So, like, I actually can't speak to the trans opinion or trans experience. So I just want to say that before I say anything else about this. But Chandler Bing doesn't like his father. First of all, they refer to his father as his father, not as his mother. And his mother, his father. See, that's the whole thing they use as a joke. The confusion. Which is offensive on many levels, okay? But it's used to leverage for comedy, which is the problem, I think. I haven't analyzed this before recording this, so this is all off the cuff, by the way. And so, what's interesting, though, about Chandler is that he is scarred by the dynamic of his parents from when he was young, right? And part of that, he blames on his father for... Oh, there's another spirit thumbs up. Part of that he blames on his father for his father becoming a woman or dressing as the opposite sex. And this is something that in the show they use for comedic effect. However, it's... what's the word I'm looking for? Well, it infuses this transphobia into the show, into the very core of that character's experience, because it implies that having a parent come out as trans and living their truth is a traumatic thing. That's what the show is implying. But it's played off as this insecurity in Chandler. Now, all that to say, the characters aren't perfect, and that's what makes a good show. And Chandler had issues on both his mother's side and his father/other mother's side. There was, conflict in every area, but it always comes back to his father's gender being fluid. That is the problem that has led him to be so insecure and messed up. And I've never thought about this on this deep of a level. And I'd be really curious of what trans people who like the show think about it. But this is just something that I see. And again, I don't mean to sound critical. This is just how I see it. Like, this is just what I see as being hidden under that comedy. And it's not that I want to ruin anybody's experience of the show, but I just want to be honest. Like, I just want us to acknowledge, like, that television, and especially television in the 90s, back when everything was still on a network and not on a streaming platform, it was a completely different experience. And even now, with it on a streaming platform, like, it highly influences the way that we move throughout the world. Like, Friends impacted everyone's experience of moving through the world on so many levels. And I just think if we're going to move out of homophobia and transphobia and all this hatred against queer people, that sometimes it's important to see how we got there.